Hey everyone, so when it comes to applied behavior analysis, there is just this huge ocean of interventions out there, right? And that creates a massive challenge for professionals. How in the world do you pick the right one for a specific person? Getting this wrong isn't just a small mistake. It can seriously impact a person's entire path. So how do we get it right? Let's dive in.
And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Is picking a therapy just about a practitioner's gut feeling, their favorite methods? Or is there a systematic, professional way to make this critical decision?
Think about it like this. On one side, you've got the practitioner who kind of has their favorite go-to tool, and they try to use it for every problem. But on the other side, you have the professional who lets the data lead the way. And believe me, this isn't a small difference. It is the fundamental divide between a so-so intervention and one that can truly change a life.
So how do we get away from that random guesswork? Well, the answer is a structured, professional framework, a blueprint, really, for making the best possible choice every single time.
And here it is, folks. This is the blueprint for making great decisions, and it's built on 4 key pillars: data, evidence, preference, and context. So let's break each one down one by one.
All right, first things first, it all starts with the data. Every single effective plan is built on a really solid assessment. Why? Well, because the data doesn't just tell you what the problem is, it reveals the crucial why behind the behavior. This right here, this is the exact mindset we need to avoid. Choosing an intervention just based on habit or personal preference isn't just a mistake, it completely ignores the unique needs of the person you're trying to help. Now this is what we're talking about. This is the professional mindset in action. The assessment data becomes your guide. The why behind the behavior directly points you to the what of the intervention. It's a logical link, not just a random choice. Let me give you a perfect example. A child who screams to get attention needs a totally different intervention than a child who hits to escape a difficult task. The behavior might look kind of similar on the surface, but the function, the reason it's happening, is completely different. And it's the data that tells you what that function is.
Okay, so the data tells you why something is happening, but what about the how? How do you fix it? Well, that brings us to our second pillar, evidence. Once the data points you in a direction, you have to choose a path that's grounded in science. Interventions that have actually been researched and are proven to work.
I mean, think of it this way. You would never want a doctor prescribing you medicine based on a hunch, right? You want the treatment that's backed by solid research. Behavior analysis is exactly the same. At its very core, it's all about applying science. And you know what? This isn't just a nice-to-have or a good idea. It's an actual ethical requirement. The professional code of conduct demands that practitioners stay up to date, that they use evidence-based practices, and that they help clients understand why these specific methods are being chosen. Okay, so we've got our data and we've got our evidence. But here's the thing. Even the most brilliant, scientifically sound plan is completely worthless if the people involved, if they won't or can't actually do it. This brings the human element right to the front and center with our third pillar, respecting preference. An intervention doesn't just happen in a clinic. It becomes part of a family's daily life, every single day. So you really have to ask these questions. Does it align with their values? Does the client themselves find it acceptable? If the answer is no, the chances of success are going to plummet. And this is what it looks like in the real world. A plan that looks absolutely perfect on paper can be completely overwhelming in a real household. Feedback like this isn't a roadblock. It's absolutely crucial data for designing a plan that actually works. And that whole idea, fitting the plan into the real world, that brings us to our fourth and final pillar, contextual fit. This is the ultimate reality check for any intervention. So what is contextual fit? Well, honestly, it all boils down to one simple word: practicality. Can the people who are supposed to be implementing this plan actually do it consistently, given the real resources and time that they have?
Just imagine a plan like this for a second. It's just destined to fail, right? It's way too demanding, it's too complex, and it completely ignores the reality of this family's life. It might be evidence-based, sure, but it's not life-based.
So what does a better plan look like? A lot of the time, the absolute most effective plan is actually the simplest one. It's manageable, and it just fits more naturally into daily routines. We have to remember, success requires consistency, and simplicity is what makes that consistency possible. All right, so we've walked through these 4 essential pillars. Now let's put it all together into a final, powerful formula for making a really great recommendation.
This right here, this is basically your cheat sheet. It summarizes the entire framework. Before you recommend any intervention, just ask yourself these 4 questions. What does the data show? What does the research support? What do the people involved actually accept? And what can realistically work in their world?
Because at the end of the day, the best interventions, they aren't just picked out of a hat. They're carefully, thoughtfully built. They're built on a foundation of data, they're framed with science, they're centered around the person, and they're designed to fit into real life. And that is the key to unlocking success.